Fortunately for you, I am. So what? Now you don't think there's objective morality?
No, I'm saying before I thought maybe there, like when we had the debate, I thought there wasn't objective morality maybe, but now I'm starting to think that there may be an objective morality.
Wait, you didn't think there was an objective morality before? Then what the fuck was that that debate we had before?
No, before I thought we had objective morality, but then after that debate, I started considering that there may not be. You get what I'm saying? I changed my
Oh,
mind. But after watching some of that debate, I started thinking, oh, maybe I need to like research this more, like look into it more, because I think there's some credence to objective morality.
okay. What is your opinion now?
My opinion now is that oh that we have we have that we may have objective. You mean what are my arguments? Like why do I think that we might have it? You mean?
Yeah. No. What do you believe now? Is there an objective morality or not, and why?
I think okay. The reason why before I even had the position that we have objective morality and that we've always had it is because okay, I initially think that um, morality only like exists for humans and for other living things that have a social system. And
Okay.
um, I think that these social systems use morality in favor of the flourishing of their species and other species
Okay.
uh, because it's beneficial
You don't
for
think
the
animals
surrounding.
have morality?
I think no, I think they do. I said that. I said it. I think they have morality if they have a
No,
social
you said
system.
only if they have a social system. Okay, if they don't have a social system, you don't think they have morality? Or do you think the morality is only for one another within the same social system? Like a human cannot have morality towards animals, or animals cannot have morality towards other animals, or like you know what I mean?
I mean, you're talking about like outside of their tribe
Yeah.
because I think they can have it. That just because it's not in their tribe doesn't mean that it's not social. You can still have a system of a society that doesn't have to include their own society. It can include other societies that they have to interact with
Hmm.
for some benefit. Do you know what I mean?
Um, yeah, of course, every action you do is beneficial to you, or you think is beneficial to you. You do it because you believe it has some benefit to you, right? There's no action
Yeah.
that someone might do intentionally without without thinking, okay, I'm gonna get something out of it. Even the smallest
Yeah.
action,
Yeah, that's true.
like everything is transactional. So when it comes to animals, so morality is something transactional. If you're moral, quote unquote, to something, it's because you're trying to get something out of that thing. So what is morality really? How do we define morality?
I think morality is. mm, I think that morality is a system that we use to differentiate what is good and bad, what we
What
find
is
to be good
yeah,
and
but
bad.
what is good though? How do you know this is good and this is so we disagree as humans, we disagree on on what is good and what is bad. Certain things might be considered good, certain things might consider bad, but they're like the same thing
I
might
don't
be
think.
considered good or bad
I
for
don't.
two different people, right?
But I would think. I don't. I don't think so. I think there's some like very basic agreements that humans do agree on, like putting your hand on a hot stove.
That's not
Uh,
morality though. That is just
you shouldn't though.
that is
You're
the
telling. So that
reaction. That is the reaction for pain, but probably some people did do it. Well,
Yeah, but that's the
yeah.
goal of morality, is to, like, what we think is bad is to increase suffering and reduce vitality. And to do the reverse is like increasing vitality is a good thing, and reducing suffering is a bad thing. I mean, is a good thing as well.
I don't think that's necessarily
And
how
I think
people
that's
view morality. Do you think every human, when he's doing his own actions, they're thinking about reducing suffering, or like this is at least their instinct?
I think people who are not hijacked by ideologies do think like that. I would say most people who are not hijacked by some ideology do think like that. Like,
It's not about
basically, I
being
think all
hijacked.
humans.
It's your instinct. You always are acting according to your instinct. Do you think the human instinct is?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, well, no, because if you are hijacked by an ideology, you will do things against your. Because that's the thing I was trying to tell you about earlier. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the purpose of life, right? And if your life isn't to focus on something virtuous, like a responsibility to, family, friends, then what's the point? Um, like, if people are doing stuff like killing people, they're doing it for some ideology, unless
Mm,
they're killing for like, what would be the utility of them killing people if it's not for an ideology? What would be
no,
the instinctual
it is.
basis?
Well, everything you can put everything in that, but the utility, not necessarily ideology. Like some people just, first of all, some people are sick. They just want to kill people for the sake of killing people, and they enjoy it.
That's a
Some
very small. I wouldn't say most people are like that.
Yeah, that is a small, but it does exist. Some people, they kill because they're trying to save someone else, or they kill because they you
Well,
know?
don't you think that minority should be taken out of society because that's wrong?
Yeah, there's prisons. They can go to prison because that is wrong.
But, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that is something that we can say is objective in
No,
a
it is
way.
okay. So there's a difference between something that is objective to me and something that is objective regardless of me, right? So I believe I have my own morality and I have my own set of rules to myself, and objectively, this thing is wrong. Um, for me, but there is no rules. Like, okay, you cannot look at morality the same way that you look at the constant of gravitation, big G, right? This is not a universal law. There is no such thing. We can, as humans, see what is better for
But there,
us and act accordingly, or better for us within a specific time and place.
it,
You know, this is why
it may
we
not.
do. Yeah.
I mean, um, there are statistics, right? Probabilities, like very complex systems that behave in certain ways, right? And the decisions that these like fluid mechanics, right? Like there's a pattern in which they behave, but you can't predict all of their behavior, right? I think, but there are rules though. There's a system to it. There's like a method to the
Yeah,
madness.
I would say if you cannot predict them, then you're missing part of the information in order to predict.
But I think we are, like, right now, I think, for instance, even though psychology is a soft science, I think it
Hmm.
does give us a lot of insights into how humans think and behave. So does neurology, which is a hard science. And the fact that we can know so much about why humans do the things they do for right or wrong, based off of like the chemicals in their brain, how they feel and things like that. I feel like gives a lot of credence to the fact that there may be um, something objectively true about how our empathy and sympathy combine to give us this sense of like, this feels wrong, this feels right. And I would say there's like a generalness to that, where generally people in like humans in nature naturally think, oh, this is fucked up and this is good. Not like they all agree, but I would say there's a natural agreement, I, at the most basic level,
Yeah,
like
but
I mentioned
again,
earlier.
you're not taking time into consideration. You're just taking space. So if humans, y- uh, so humans,
What do you mean? Yeah.
Because there's a time dimension that you're ignoring. You say all humans agree on. Did humans
Not
100 years
all.
ago agree
Well,
on with
don't
everything
say
that
all.
you said?
Don't say all though. I didn't say all. I said
Okay,
most.
most humans agree on. Well, the fact that not all, that means that it's not objective for me. And the other thing is the fact that within time, if you probably look at like the entire existence of humanity,
I'm on
acco-
19, by the way. School your
yeah, I
ass,
can
boy.
see.
Schooling your ass.
I'm at 26, buddy.
No, you're not. You wish. But yeah,
But
keep going.
what I'm saying is, so if you're taking the entirety of the human race of I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of years, these things all the time change. Like morality is never static. Morality is very dynamic, and you can make the argument that we're going towards the correct morality all the time, but like according to who? Like if we brought someone like 1,000 years ago, who lived 1,000 years ago, or 3,000 years ago at the time of the Bible, and you told him about our morality, he's gonna disagree. He's gonna think this is not good for humanity. You know?
Yeah, but the reason why is because we're less informed about
If you,
about science, psychology, a bunch of different practices. I think
yeah, but
we
you
have
cannot
more
inform
wisdom
him
and
enough.
insight than
You cannot
I think we
inform him
are.
enough.
I think we are more informant than our past generations. Definitely,
Absolutely,
like morally as
absolutely,
well.
absolutely. But okay, according to the information that they had at the time, that was the correct morality. Would you agree?
I don't. I don't necessarily think that though, because the thing is even back in the day, like I told you before, when there was slave owners, right? I
Yeah.
think there was people, like a lot of, I'd say most people that didn't have the power, that weren't the government or rich people, the people that were poor and the people in like subordinate positions thought it was morally wrong for them to be in those positions, and they didn't just think, oh, this is just the way it is and we're okay with this, and like if we had power we would shoot other people like that. That's why people fought, and went out of their way to change things, as they thought it was wrong.
Yeah, but at
So
that
there
time,
has to
most
be
people,
something innately wrong to
but
it
at that
for.
time, most people thought that it was correct and they were doing it. You know what I mean? And we look
No,
at
no.
these things and we're like, okay, this is fucking horrible. And you look at okay, most of the fucking history that we look at from like 100 years ago to a couple of thousand to like the beginning of humanity, we look at it and we say it's fucking horrible. You know? How is most of our history horrible to us? How does that even make sense? You know, and then saying that
I
morality is
mean,
subjective. How can humans think of that thing and then be like, okay, morality
I mean,
is
just because it's fucked up doesn't mean that people are like. I mean, I do believe at the same time, even though there are, like, if I do think that good and bad exist, as in like objectively, that doesn't mean that I think that that has to pertain to anything beyond playing the game of morality. Like when you're a human or you're a living thing, you have to play by the rules, right? But if you're external person, like you're somebody that is not playing the rules of morality. Um, for example, when we look at animals, right, we don't necessarily give them the same um, morality and responsibility that we give humans, right? Um, like when they kill an animal, we just say that's nature. Like when they do something
we
like messed
do,
up
but
in
we
nature,
respect their own
we just
morality.
let them do it.
The difference is that we respect their own morality. That is their
We
own
don't.
morality. According to their own morality, that is fine, and they would do it. If that animal didn't get killed, he would probably kill another animal too. And we kill cows in the worst ways, and that is moral
No,
according to
but Peter,
humanity.
but Peter wouldn't agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that wouldn't agree with animals killing animals. Like, if I saw somebody trying to kill a deer or a cat in front of me,
Bro,
I
we
would try
kill
to
other
save the cat.
animals. The fuck are you talking about? We eat them. That is
That
morally
doesn't make it
fine.
okay. I mean, it could be
Can we
hypocritical, but it
survive
doesn't make
as
it right.
humans? As humans, can we survive without killing another creature, existing creature? No. If we're not gonna kill
It doesn't
animals,
just, but
if we're
that
not gonna
doesn't
kill
just.
animals, we're gonna kill plants. If we're not gonna kill
Bro, do
plants,
you think
we're not
bro, do
gonna
you think,
subside on
bro? I
fucking dirt and
understand your
rocks.
position. I understand your position, but that doesn't change. That doesn't justify it. It makes it okay, but it doesn't justify the killing. I understand
Okay,
why it has to be done,
give me a
but
solution to not. Okay, give me a solution to not killing creatures, I guess. Because okay, what you're telling me, it is not, it's not justified to kill creatures.
okay,
But
let's say if
hold
you
on,
had
hold
a
on.
choice.
I don't think you understand my position. I don't think we can survive without killing creatures. We'll die.
Wait, can I give you your position, and
Yeah, go
you can tell
ahead.
me if I know it? Okay, your position is that we have to kill animals like lions kill gazelles and things like that because it's in their nature and they see it as right? And there's nothing inherently wrong with that because that's the way it is.
So that is not what I was
But
trying to tell you, no, if that's the question.
what are you? So what are you trying to tell me?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to tell you is we cannot live, no
Mhm.
creature can live without the death of another creature. If we're
I
not gonna kill
understand that though.
if we're not gonna kill animals, we're gonna have to kill plants. We cannot survive on dirt and rocks. Unfortunately, we have to
Okay,
get
we
we
can
have to,
also. Okay, we need food to survive. I understand that. Got
yes.
you. But my
Okay, how
point
do you solve that
is,
dilemma? If we need food to survive and food is only made out of
right.
creatures, how do
So
we solve the
so
dilemma?
so my dilemma is that if we can find a solution to getting nutrients and food without killing animals, like we're in a state of like things are barbaric. Like nature is barbaric in nature. Like it's just naturally barbaric. Does that mean that good and evil doesn't exist? I would think that it does exist. And my point is if we had an alternative to not killing animals, we would do it. I don't think it's whether we need it to survive, which if we need it to survive, we have to do what we have to do. But if we have the choice not to kill animals and we can still get the nutrition and uh, if we can get things without killing animals, I think we should take that position. Like we're not talking about necessity. We're talking about whether it's the right thing or
Okay, okay,
the
I
wrong
got your
thing.
point. I got your point. But again, you would have disagreements on that today. Maybe in the future you wouldn't have. But science is already evolved enough for us to understand the severity of killing, right? And humans still don't agree on one thing about not killing animals.
That doesn't.
And according to this
The
time,
one,
do you
but
kill?
people who
Do you eat
disagree doesn't make
chicken?
them right.
Do you eat chicken?
But I'm a hypocrite though. I can agree that I'm a hypocrite that I eat it and I think it's wrong.
Okay,
Like
but
that doesn't make me wrong though in my position that we shouldn't
so
be that it's not right.
what I don't understand is how can you say that is wrong when okay, if you and few other people, or not few, let's say half of the world
It's
is
a,
saying that is
it's a
it's
hedonistic reason. It's like why do
no,
you
no, 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 no,
drink
I'm not talking
the
about
monsters
what you
when they're
eat.
not good for you?
But if you and the half of the world, let's say, would agree that it's wrong, right? And then the
I'm
other
at
half of
30
the
by the way.
world would agree that it's
Yeah.
fine, how are you gonna settle this? Like, how is this objective? What is the objectivity? How is your opinion objective and not like any of the other 50% of the world? I don't get that.
Because their argument is saying, "Oh, we eat animals, right?"
Yes.
And
It's
if
not
they're
about the
doing it out
argument,
of
it's about the morality though. In their moral
okay,
view, it is fine, it is not bad. In your moral
okay,
view, it is very bad. How do you settle
can
that?
I reply?
Yes.
Okay, can I? Okay, so the way I would argue that is okay. So if you're are you eating the food out of necessity? Are they eating it out of
Not
necessity?
necessarily,
If they're
no, they
eating
believe that we're humans, so we have the ability to kill other animals and eat them because we're superior to them, and that is
or
morally
for the
correct.
gratification, and I don't. Okay, but
Because it tastes
that's
better,
where
basically, because it tastes good.
because it tastes good. Okay, well I think that's wrong.
So,
I
yeah,
mean
well,
that doesn't mean they can't eat it. What?
my point is, if you think that's wrong and half of the world thinks that's correct, how do you settle that? How do you know who's right? Objectively. What is the rule to know what moral action is the correct one?
Because if we're defining we're defining it. I think that, for instance, I think there's a humanitarian definition, which is when people talk about in general humanitarian morality, right? When the UN defines it, even though there's a bunch of different countries with a bunch of different ideologies and they're agreeing on what they think is moral, I think they would all agree. Almost all countries would agree that increasing vitality and decreasing suffering is good. And when you're talking about animals specifically,
No, but there's a difference between suffering of all creatures and suffering of humans. If we're gonna reduce suffering of all creatures, we can do that by exterminating all creatures. You know that, right?
no, that's not a right. I actually really I know there's a good argument for this, but I hate this argument they're saying because it's a common argument, but a lot of people are able to dunk that. I don't know how to do it. I never forgot the argument for it. But bro, you can't just say oh reduce suffering, so just kill them.
Well,
That's
that's the
not
definition
the
of reduce suffering. If we want to reduce suffering, that's the objective,
but
then that's what we
but
do.
that's not. No, but when you're talking, but what's the logic of that? You're not increasing
You're
the
reducing
flourishing of the
suffering.
animals. No, because there's also another aspect. You also want to increase the flourishing of
Why is
the
that? Why
animal
does that relate to morality?
because that's good. That's
What
what we
makes it
define as
good?
good. What human would disagree with that? Any human that would
What?
disagree with that,
Okay, saying humans would agree with that. That's not an argument to say it's good
why not?
because that's not objective. What makes that objectively good? I
I
don't
don't
care
think
about the
it's
masses
complete.
disagreeing
I
with that.
don't.
That's a bandwagon
I don't
fallacy.
think. I don't think it's a well. I'm not. I'm not saying it's a complete. It's more of like a hypothesis than a complete. Like me stating that there's a objective morality is more of a hypothesis that I have more than a fact. It's because it's not a fact. That's my. It's incomplete, but I think it's discoverable. But there are some moral truths that eventually will be discovered that we're already seeing. Like the more scientifically literate and educated we become, we notice we become more moral. Which you could argue, how can you say we're more moral? But that's how I'm saying we're more moral, because I'm saying it because the more educated, and if you see through history, every time we get more educated, we always give people rights.
No, we always
Give
change according
different.
to time. You give more people rights, more people less rights. Like this is how it works. And when
No,
you
but
say like
we.
most people agree with that, like if most people agree with the Nazis, that doesn't make me agree with the Nazis. You know what I mean? It's not about the most people.
What do you mean?
Like when you told me most people would agree with that.
No, I said but I told you before, if they're not hijacked by an ideology. Nazi is ideology.
But how do you determine who's hijacked by an ideology and who's
If
not?
you're talking about an ideology, Nazi is
Everyone
literally an
has an
ideology.
ideology, though.
Who has it? Whoever you're talking about. If they're talking about that the Jews should be the only ones, or they should be killing all the Jews, or talking about specific things like that, I mean, that's clearly they're hijacked by an ideology. Like, what are they saying it
Of
for? They're
course, but
saying it
that is
because
their
of God.
morality. We look at it as fucked up, but that is their morality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between an objective morality and like subjective morality. That's my point. Yeah, that's a subjective morality, but I don't think that's an objective morality. Which I told you I need to research this more, but I don't think the opposing arguments that you've put forth have really like completely negated this idea.
I don't know. Damn, you're on
I
my
mean, there's
fucking
more to
level.
it. I
Okay, I
don't.
gotta lock in, bro. You're you're making me fucking shit.
Bro,
You're
I don't even know what level I'm on, bro.
you're
I'm
on
far.
27. You're passing me, bro. What the fuck?
I told you, bro.